It's almost Christmas, and this video is basically the opposite of that. It's pretty crazy, but inside this video, we're gonna be talking about a good fight inside of Star Wars, or as I would say, the best fight inside of Star Wars. Anakin versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the most emotional fight, and it's basically the most built-up fight throughout all the movies. I think this fight is definitely better than all of the fights between Rey and the dude, the Kylo Ren. And I think this fight is better than Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. I mean, like, even though Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader, if you watch it a bit episodically, it would be the final fight, and it would be the most built up fight. But or even the Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, and I still do like this one better because it's not the Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. It doesn't really hold up at all. Like, sure, it's a good fight, and it does have emotions. Once at the fight, it just kind of fight awkwardly, and I think I'm gonna get hate for that, for saying that. But still, I just think that the fight was not really good, well choreographed. They were just kind of poking each other. But inside this fight, I would say they did it much better because this fight, you see, like, it was more emotion and it had more emotional impact, and it felt them using their skill at their full power. And I thought the fight, you could see the difference in power. So just we're seeing Obi-Wan kind of being overpowered in the fight, even though he does win the full fight. He's being knocked around, even though he is using his own skill against him. Still is like standing like no physical strength against him at all. He opposes none, but still manages to win at the end because it's before. Because before, you see, he was fighting foes that were pretty similar to Anakin, like Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and Grievous. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. He was fighting foes like that throughout it, and that basically trained him up to fight a foe like Anakin. Even though his fight was more emotional, because like he was basically fighting his brother or his son in some way. Well, I thought the fight didn't really say it was his son. They said it was more of his brother. But still, he raised him as if that was his son, if you consider Qui-Gon. But still, besides Star Wars, it was a pretty emotionally impactful fight between them two. And inside the fight, we could see a different skill. And no, they weren't just swinging their sabers. If you look, you can see Obi-Wan just kind of getting tossed around. Unlike the Count Dooku, who, when he was fighting, what's his name? We see him also getting pretty much taken out after every shot. And yeah, that's basically the fight. And I thought some scenes of the fight, we kind of see how, like, especially at the end of the fight, like the high ground scene, I think the scene kind of made more sense because the other fights, especially the Darth Maul fights, which it mainly takes back to. Inside that fight, we see Darth Maul has the high ground, and we see how Darth Maul handles the high ground inside of a weaker way. Like, he doesn't try to go after him, he just waits and see. Once this fight, when Obi and Anakin tries to do the same thing, it fails this time. Unlike when Obi-Wan did it, it won for him. So I'm not sure if it's supposed to be hypocritical as in on that, or is this trying to be him actually learning from his older fights. But at the end of the fight, he still did have the high ground. And no, I'm not making fun of the high ground. Also, the part when he got his leg chopped off, I've seen a video talking about how it was much more tragic because at the end he actually was saying, "Keith, help me," and it's kind of muted. So he was begging for help at the end, and Obi-Wan said, "I love you, but I can't do that." So he basically did kind of leave him to die, which did make it more tragic because at the fight, if he did say that, he probably could have helped him and probably could have brought him back to the way he was. But we see he couldn't. Also, inside this fight, we could see different point of views in this fight. Like, we could see how if if you think the Jedi are good inside these films, you're pretty much wrong. Because the Jedi aren't meant to be good inside these films. The Jedi are meant to be corrupt. So this was the last film where we see Luke can only win the final battle using his own anger, and then at the end using his own pacifist, using his own mercy. So that's the only way he actually could win, and he only did win throughout his emotions. And that's what's basically being shown. But inside this film, like aside these films, we see how the Jedi are trying to suppress the emotions, which kind of don't work, and which inevitably leads to a fall. While inside Revenge of the Sith, even though at the end Obi-Wan did win, he still did not win the war, and that's why a couple years later he would just get beaten out, like beaten out pretty quickly. Because I don't think Darth Vader was trying this battle. We see he's really have lost his power over time. He became stronger with the Force, but in lightsaber dueling, he failed. Even though you need to be strong with the Force in lightsaber dueling, because you could do it. Quality. Just lost. He's lost his power that he had before. Also, it's not the final battle. I think there's some good moments, like the part when they were just kind of fighting. I saw the that one place they weren't really lightsaber dueling. They were just kind of knocking each other down. I mean, kind of bizarre in some way because you usually don't see that happen. But I enjoyed it in some way. Also, it's in the part when we see them both dueling for power. It kind of showed like the Jedi versus the Sith. Also, inside the film, I think it kind of like inside this film, like you know how I think it's like kind of like symbolic for how the dark side once failed, but then they would come back to rise again and take over. Like the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, like, and at the beginning I heard that the dark side used to be like used to be like on the same side as the Jedi, but then eventually they diverged ways. So basically they start turning against each other. And at first the Jedi, first the dark side was powerful, but then the Jedi kind of took him over because the dark side killed himself. But then the dark side would rise again, somewhat like Anakin, even though he didn't turn evil twice. Still, the dark side would fall and rise again, like the past ones did before. And that's what their relationship kind of shows. Also, inside their battle, we see how they're both deluded inside their own ways. Like Obi-Wan, we just kind of see him as we just kind of see him as a Jedi, and he's deluded inside the Jedi way by Master Yoda and people like that. While he's brung inside the way, like he is, like Obi-Wan is. So at the end of the battle, they're basically both lost within their own path of being dark or good. Also, inside the Clone Wars, so this is gonna be quick, but I don't like how they did Count Dooku that much. Like he was just kind of serious for some reason. I mean, every episode I've seen him, and I don't really see him being like inside the movie. He was pretty serious, but he kind of was cocky inside his fights. So outside these fights, he's kind of just serious. So that was quick. Also, inside the choreography of the fight, I think it was really well choreographed because, as I said on my other points before, and I was fine with the jumping action. I mean, I was fine with the actions when they were just like jumping around. Like I found that pretty okay. And inside the final battle, it was more between Yoda and Palpatine. It was more goofy, so I don't think I could take that one that seriously. But still, like, comment, subscribe on this video.